Jefferson County Court, law number 2 is back in session. The court is in session. And calls number M332768. Case is style. The state of Texas versus DeCarlos L. Frank. Mr. Frank, is that your full name? Mr. Frank, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Frank, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Mr. Frank, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Frank? That's good. Mr. Frank, you're represented in your case by your attorney, Attorney Langston Adams. Attorney Langston Adams is appearing via Zoom or teleconference. And I have before me a document that is titled Joint Request for a Plea and or Sentencing by Video Conference under Texas Code of Criminal Procedure, Articles 27.18. Mr. Frank, do you recognize this document? And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant? Mr. Frank, before you signed this document, did your attorney, Mr. Adams, go over this document with you? And did you read and understand everything in this document? And is everything in this document true and correct to the best of your knowledge? Okay. Mr. Adams, do you waive a record in Mr. Frank's case?
Yes.
Mr. Frank, I have before me in cause number M332768, a document that is titled information. This information was filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. In this information, it alleges that you, DeCarlos L. Frank, on or about February 18 of 2022, while you were operating a motor vehicle in a public place in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated with an alcohol concentration level of 0.15 or more. Mr. Frank, do you understand what you have been charged with? And to this charge, Mr. Frank, how do you plead? Not guilty, guilty, or no contest? Okay, now, Mr. Frank, I have a document here that says guilty.
Oh, guilty.
Are you pleading guilty?
I just did.
Yes. Now, are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily? And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty? Mr. Frank, I also have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishments. Do you recognize this document? On page 2 of this same document, Mr. Frank, there's some initials, DF.
Oh, yes.
Do you recognize this document? Or these your initials on page 2? On page 3 of this same document, there's a signature above the line that is titled Defendant. Is this your signature? And on the next document that's titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal, do you recognize this document? And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant? At the top of this document, there's one box that's checked. The box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that statement? The next document that I have is titled Discovery Certification. You recognize this document? And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant? Mr. Frank, before you signed and initialed these documents, did you read the documents? Well, did your attorney go over these documents with you? And did you understand everything that he went over? And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Frank, are you a citizen of the United States?
Stay up for 6-1.
Mr. Adams, the state is offering State's Exhibit number 1. Do you have any objections to State's Exhibit number 1 being admitted into evidence?
Where?
And Mr. Adams, you've advised and counseled Mr. Frank, is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
None.
And Mr. Frank, your attorney, Mr. Adams has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation? Has he provided fully effective and competent legal representation? Mr. Frank, State's Exhibit number 1 will be admitted into evidence. The court will accept your plea of guilty. The court will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. The court will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. And the court will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement in Mr. Frank's case?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
For pleading guilty, the state has offered 45 days jail or credit for 17 days.
Mr. Frank, the state is offering that you serve 45 days in the Jefferson County Jail, and you'll be given credit for the 17 days that you've already served. What is this court cost?
175,
One,
170.
that's kind of low for
I
it.
know.
175, okay. Mr. Frank, the state is offering that you pay court costs of $175. Will you be able to pay the court costs of $175? Now, Mr. Frank, I also have before me Miss Mosby. Mr. Frank, Ms. Mosby, the bailiff will be handing you a document that is titled Affidavit of Indigence. On page 2 of that document, there's a signature above the line that is titled Defendant. Do you recognize that document? And is that your signature? Is everything in that document still true and correct today? Okay, let's see the document. Mr. Frank, the court is going to find that you're indigent. Based on the finding of indigency, the court costs in this case will be waived. And that simply means that you will not be required to pay the court costs because you are indigent. Do you understand that? Now, Mr. Frank, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
And do you think that the state's offer in this case is fair and just? And do you accept the state's offer? Mr. Frank, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Frank, this will conclude your case. You're going to stand next to the bailiff, follow her directions. And once you're finished following her directions, you can follow the bailiff, and you have a blessed day. You're welcome. And Mr. Adams, I think this is your last case. You're free to go, and you have a blessed day as well.
Take it easy.
Okay. Jefferson County Code at Law number 2 is back in session. The code is in session in cause number 23 CCCR 1434, case is filed with State of Texas versus Zachary Michael Alford. Mr. Alford, is that your full name?
Yes,
Mr. Alford, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Alford, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Alford, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Alford?
Yes.
You doing good? That's good. Now, Mr. Alford, you're represented in your case by your attorney, Attorney Peter Dahl. Attorney Dahl, how are you doing?
Pretty fair, Judge.
Mr. Dahl, do you waive a record in Mr. Alford's case?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Alford, I have before me a document that is titled Information Sheet. This information sheet was filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. In this information sheet, it alleges that you, Zachary Michael Alford, on or about February 18th of 20, I got that in the wrong spot. Hold on a minute. The offense is supposed to go up here. The date, let's see, is February. Excuse me. Okay. Now, Mr. Alford, I have before me a document that is titled misdemeanor plea at my, well, first of all, I'm just back on up. Mr. Alford, I have before me a document that is titled Information Sheet. This information sheet was filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. In this information sheet, it alleges that you, Zachary Michael Alford, on or about February 18th of 2023, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class B misdemeanor offense of failure to identify by giving false or fictitious information. Mr. Alford, do you understand what you have been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to this charge, how do you plead guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
Now, you're pleading no contest freely and voluntarily?
Yes, Your Honor.
And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Alford, I also have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonished, was also labeled as State's Exhibit Number 1. You recognize this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
On page 2 of this same document, there are a set of initials. First set of initials is below a paragraph name that's titled waiver. And did you place your initials right here under this paragraph titled waiver?
Yes, Your Honor.
Also, your second set of initials is on a line next to the box says check no contingent, which means no contest. Did you place your initials ZA on that tag,
Yes, Your Honor.
on that line? Now, the third set of initials is below a paragraph that is titled Discovery Admonishment and is next to a statement that reads as follows. I do not request discovery of the evidence. I waive my right to request discovery in this case and choose to enter a plea of guilty or no contest. Did you place your initials on this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
On page 3 of the same document, there is a signature above the line that is titled Defendant. Is this your signature?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, Mr. Alford, before you sign and initial all of these documents that I just went over with you, did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes, Your Honor.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, Your Honor.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Alford, are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes, Your Honor.
State up for states one.
Any objections, Mr.?
Yes, sir.
Okay, no objections. State's Exhibit Number 1 will be admitted. The court will also take judicial notice of the court's file. Mr. Dahl, you've advised and counseled Mr. Alford. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Judge.
And Mr. Alford, your attorney, Mr. Dahl, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Alford, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. I also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
An agreement for a plea of guilty or no contest. The state has offered 7 days time served. Court costs in this case tax retired.
Okay, you say 7 days.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, 7 days. Time served. No tax and retire the court costs?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Alford, the state is offering that you serve 7 days in Jefferson County Jail. You will not have to serve any more time in Jefferson County Jail in this case because you've already served 7 days in Jefferson County Jail. Therefore, you'll be given credit for the time that you have already served. The court costs in this case will be taxed and retired. That simply means that you will not be required to pay the court costs because the time that you paid in jail, the time that you spent in jail has already paid it off. Therefore, the court costs will be taxed and retired. Mr. Alford, do you understand the
Yes.
state's offer?
Yes, Your
Do you
Honor.
think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes, Your
And
Honor.
do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Alford, I'll follow the plea bargaining agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Alford, if you do not have anything else holding you in jail, you should be getting out of jail today. Mr. Alford, this will conclude your case. You're gonna stand next to the bailiff, follow her directions. Once you finish following her directions, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day. And Mr. Doyle, you're free to go as well, and you have a blessed day.
Yes, sir.
Okay.